guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys MMS 326 of the Star Wars First Order Flametrooper, which is obviously from the new Star Wars The Force Awakens movie. For the package, you got a really cool image of the Flametrooper right there. Nowhere on here does it actually say The Force Awakens, it just says Star Wars. But down here it does say The First Order, so we know that comes to us from The Force Awakens. On this side right here, you don't have anything really. You got some logo stuff, but that's about it. Same thing with this side. On the top here, you got the just standard Star Wars logo. On the back of the package, you have various warnings and contact information. And then it is a bit of a shoebox package, so you just slide it just like so, set that kind of right there, and on the inside you have a really cool insert kind of showing the action figure in a couple kind of dynamic looking poses, which really does look pretty cool. And then you can even see a Kylo Ren's shuttle right there, which is cool. So you just slide this out, and then on the inside you have the clamshell, which fully showcases the figure, all of his accessories, everything of that nature. And again, people have asked me, why don't I show it inside the package? And it's because I want to take it out and kind of get it cool looking before you guys, are spoiled by anything. I want the first time that you see it to be all cool looking and stuff. But for the packaging, that's about it for it. So without further ado, let's get this guy out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the First Order Flametrooper opened up and out of its packaging. And as always, you got the instruction sheet that I do recommend going through. There isn't really too much to it. It just kind of shows you how to attach things, which is pretty simplistic just by itself. It shows you what you're not able to remove, and kind of how to set up the actual flamethrower itself. So instructions are very simple on this guy, but like I said, it is important to go over them. You really want to know what these figures can do, and as everybody knows, knowing is half the battle. Now for his accessories, he doesn't come with a ton of different accessories, but the ones that he does come with are pretty nice. First, in addition to the two relax hands that he has, which also kind of work as like a supporting kind of hand for the lower section of the actual flamethrower, you get a couple extra ones. You get a that sort of fisted hand that has a little bit of an open gap right there. Again, probably so that you can have him hold various aspects of his weapons. He gets a left fisted hand, and again, real nice detail on here. You can see some nice protective paneling on the outside there, and then you can see that the glove is a mix of white and black, which looks really very cool. You get a left hand that is just kind of him waving, I guess, but on the inside you can see some nice pad work on the actual palm, which is really cool to see. Nice actual functional detail. And then you get a right and left trigger hand that do look like they're just mirror opposites of each other, but it allows you to basically put, the handle of his flamethrower in either hand, which I think is pretty cool. So you do have that. You also do get 2 additional wrist pegs in case anything happens to the ones that are currently on him. And then the big parts that he comes with are his backpack here, which it actually does come already assembled, but I took apart just to kind of show you how to do it. First, you got this lower section right here. You're going to peg that right in there, and then this hose right here comes around, and then you got this little section right underneath there that you just slide this in and then up into the actual tank itself. Kind of put that in there so you have that. So now you have that assembled, and you can rotate that. This entire section right here is on a bendy wire, which is really nice. I got really compliment them on making this as a bendy material, because you can create some really cool poses with it. The texture on it, I don't know how well that's going to come across, but the texture actually feels very cool as well. The detail overall on this backpack looks really terrific. I mean, you can see some sort of clear-lucent red pieces right here. You got one right here. You got one down there. Now, on the actual... Oh, you also got one right there. Now, in the actual movie itself, these were lit up. You couldn't really do that on this unless you put a battery component in here. But I like that they actually used the clear-lucent red plastic to kind of give you that red sort of effect. You got a little gauge system right up here, which is cool. You got these little bits right here, which look like they're kind of handles. You got a nice little metal chain down here that kind of dangles and just adds to some realism on them. I really do like it. In general, it's really very well done. Very simple, but obviously works. You got a little antenna and everything on there. Some nice gold bits up there as well. Some paint variation for the hoses right up there. So in general, very, very cool. You have the heavy-duty kind of back compartment, and then you got the little prongs right here, which will attach to his back. And then there's actually a magnet in here that helps to stabilize it on the upper part of his back, and I'll show you that here in a second. Setting that there, and then coming to the actual flamethrower itself, I mean, this is actually really cool and very nicely detailed. You can see you got basically just a white and black kind of setup here. You got some red bits right here. You got some nice silver bits thrown on there as well. Come around here to the front, and you got some copper bits right here, which look like it actually supplies the gas or something like that. I mean, it shoots it out kind of like through here, and then like maybe that middle section is what actually ignites it. I mean, really cool how that looks. Absolutely love this gun. And again, the same detail is on the opposite side as well. You got some nice little vent holes right through there. And then obviously he comes with the flame effect, which does look really cool. It's kind of a cluster sort of thing, and that's one thing that kind of puts me off. I wish it was a little bit more spread out, but it actually does look really cool how this is. I love what they did here. You got this super heated blue color coming through here. I don't know how well that's going to come across. You can kind of see it there. But, I mean, that's where it's going to be super heated. And then as it goes out here, it gets actually a little bit cooler. I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily know that the blue part of the flame is the hottest part. So it makes sense that, you know, at the initial point of contact, it would be, you know, a lighter color kind of through here. And you kind of get the idea that this is, you know, clear and such, replicating like the actual, well, it's not propane or anything, but the gas that they're using to ignite it. So really very cool on here. And then for this, you just come around, this piece detaches, you just pull that out, well, and then you drop it. So you just pull that out just like so, and then you take this, and you peg that in there, and you can see that it actually replicates those little copper pieces right up in there. So you have that whole flame kind of gimmick, which is obviously necessary for the flame trooper. I mean, I dig that a lot. I think that's really cool. I'm going to just set that there, and I'll show you how it looks on the figure here in a sec. And then you also do get this really nice First Order Stormtrooper Star Wars display stand. One thing that does kind of suck, I don't know how well that's going to come across, right here, I don't know, again, I don't, maybe, let me, if I zoom in, maybe you can kind of, oh yeah, there it is, right there. I have a scratch on mine, which is kind of unfortunate. I thought at first maybe it was a hair, but it's actually a scratch, and that kind of bums me out because there is actually a protective film over this, and when you peel it off, you would think that it would be safe and everything under there. Oh, there's a little, oh no, that's just a smear right up there, but I do have a bit of a scratch going right through there, and that kind of upsets me. You come around near the bottom, it's nothing spectacular, but you got the nice, you know, First Order logo right there. You have the adjustable cradle on this, fairly standard pillar, but accessory wise, that's about it. I mean, he doesn't come with a lot, like I said, but what he does come with is actually really very cool and obviously very necessary for a flame trooper. Coming to take a look at the figure himself, it is very similar to what you would expect on a lot of Stormtrooper kind of figures, but obviously with the Flame Trooper sort of look. The biggest difference would be the way that the helmet is. This is actually a really cool updated helmet. It definitely still has that, you know, Stormtrooper kind of vibe, but with a slight difference that kind of give it, you know, its own unique kind of look. The visor here is done in a way that is, I guess, meant to give like an anti-glare sort of thing when he's shooting off his flames and things like that. You got the little vents down here that are painted in this nice silver. All these various parts here are not removable, so don't try taking them off. But one thing I will say is that they are fairly loose to the body. You got this kind of vinyl material that's kind of underneath it that's described as being, you know, like a flame resistant kind of protective suit underneath there. And all of the pieces here are just kind of attached to it. And then some of these pieces, like for example the thigh piece right here, you can see it does get a little bit loose, but the vinyl on it kind of grips it. So you want to put it up and then it kind of frictions in and locks things in place. But there is some futzing that is necessary when you first get this out of the package, especially like around here with the actual torso area. You're kind of manipulating things, rotating things around just to kind of get everything lined up looking proper. But the general look on this guy is really very cool. Now to complete the look, what you need to do is you got his backpack right here, and then you, like I said, you got the little prongs right here that you just put on here kind of like that, and then you slide this up and it locks into place right here. There's a magnet kind of on the insides here that when you put it in, it just grabs it just like so. And actually looks pretty cool. I mean, you can see that you got a little silver bit right there that kind of fits in there, which kind of completes the look, I guess. And it doesn't just look like it's floating on his back, which is really very cool. I do like that. And then obviously you got the hose right here, and then you bring this section right here, and then the gun handle on the bottom here has a little hole that you take this, and then you just put that in there like that, and then you bring this around, and you're going to, well, I'm obviously going to have to put the right hand in there, so let's take this out, kind of set that right there, get him to stand, futz with it a little, and you can get a really cool look with this guy. Like I said, the detail on this is really very nice. It's very, very simple. One thing that I'm showing you right here is that he does have this little plastic section here around his thigh that this little piece is kind of wrapped around. It's a little bit of a stretchy material that's around there, but I left that little piece on there just to kind of protect the armor piece right underneath there. And you can see, I mean, it's a clear piece of plastic, so you don't even really notice it all that much. But real great look on this. And then obviously you can take this little guy, you can put this right in there. It really does only peg one way, just like that. Then you can get a real very cool, you know, kind of flame sort of thing with it, which, you know, in general, I mean, it really does have a very solid presence to it. And these troopers utilize this flame not necessarily as a weapon to attack people with, more as a way to kind of flush people out. And they're usually, you know, accompanied by stormtroopers that have just the regular guns. So this will flush them out, and then the stormtroopers utilize their blasters to take them down. That's kind of the general gist of it. But just getting this back detached, just like so. Now I'm just going to take his whole hand out. I'll make it a little bit easier. And then detach this, just to kind of go over the articulation here for you. As you can see, the head, oh, and then this, like I said, is a separate piece, so you do want to be careful when you're kind of manipulating that and stuff. But you got the head here that is on a nice ball joint. You got a lower neck section, then an upper ball joint here, so you get a nice range of motion with that looking forward, back. You can see that it pivots up and down very nicely, so real good range of motion there. The elbows here do move in and out. They move forward and back. Again, you don't have too much restriction because of that material underneath there, but there is a little bit of restriction. These little pieces right here are on kind of like springy sort of the pieces of plastic, it looks like, or maybe just like elastic pieces or something, so it comes right back down. But you can move it in and out, nice range of motion. You do have an armpit joint right inside there. It does rotate at the upper part of the bicep. I do believe that's just the standard body underneath all this, but some of the obvious armor and things of that nature do hinder some of the actual articulation. You got two joints here at the elbow. The wrists move, rotate all the way around. They're on those standard pegs, so you can move them up and down as well. You can rotate them and move in and out and things of that nature. The waists here and everything does get very restricted because of the suit, so you're not going to get a lot of motion in it, both because of the underlining material as well as the upper armor, so that does kind of suck in terms of the overall functionality of the articulation. The hips here also really don't move a heck of a lot. You can see, oh, well, I'm just dropping everything and popping things off. This piece right here, it just moves about that far. It doesn't really move in and out a heck of a lot. The upper thigh does rotate. Again, lots of restriction in here, but if you're just going to have him standing there, you know, shooting off his, you know, flame gun, I mean, I guess it works okay. He has two joints here at the knee, but really you're only going to get about a 90-degree bend on it. And then you come down here for the ankle, and those are on ball joints, so you get a nice range of motion there. And then again, you kind of have to fidget with these little pieces, and as you move things around, you can see that the armor bits do get a little bit messed up. So you're constantly, if you're going to be posing this guy a lot, you are going to be futzing with him a heck of a lot, just to kind of keep things where they're supposed to be and looking on the body of the figure himself. In general, though, I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. Yeah, it is a bit of a fiddly kind of figure, especially with the way that, you know, the armor is. But the overall look for it is really very nice. It has a very clean look to it, something that you would expect for any type of stormtrooper. The gun detail is phenomenal. I really do like this actual flame accessory. It works very nicely. And I'm not always a big fan of, you know, Hot Toy figures that have effects, but that definitely does kind of help round out the look for this guy. It is also a very accurate representation of how the Flame Trooper looked. All the way down from the detail in his actual gun to the way that the actual backpack looks. Everything on this guy really does look very nice. And if you're a Star Wars fan, this is definitely a fun one to have. Like I said, you know, the functionality of this guy is kind of to flush out the enemies. So in terms of a display, he would look really cool next to a lot of your other stormtroopers. So if you're a Star Wars fan, I would absolutely recommend picking this guy up. He is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the 1/6 scale Star Wars figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video to please like and share it. Also be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you never miss a future review of mine. And as always, until next time, I'll talk to you later.